It is Thursday, October 23rd, 2025. This is a World Series preview-ish edition of Baseball Today. It is presented to you by Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Looking for a refreshing citrusy kick? Go grab yourself a Mountain Dew. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, and intern Sawyer along for the ride as well, as we are slowly creeping toward the first game of the World Series. Come on, let's speed this thing up, Plouffe.
I don't want it. I'm enjoying this time. I'm telling you, man. First of all, I like anticipation. Anticipation is the key to anything, and you know what I'm talking about. You can't just jump right into it, okay? So let's let the love build a little bit, Chris Rose, okay? And then we'll get to the main act.
So you're saying a little baseball foreplay?
A little foreplay is what I'm saying. That's the second show in a row we've got an X-rated right away. All
chicka,
right.
chicka, bow, wow.
Maybe I do need the World Series to start.
Hey, now, baseball today. Actually, you know what? I do want to request something of our outstanding community. I'm going to be going to Game 3 of the World Series and doing kind of our short form stuff, sort of questions with the Queen stuff. If you had watched Dugout Discussions with Chris Rose, so those sort of questions. If there's anything fun, enjoyable you want to shoot out there, who knows? Maybe I'll give you a little love on the show, or even something better. If you come up with a question that we might ask a bunch of ball players for some good short form content, always looking to, tap into the brains of our fine listeners and community out there. So help us out. Go do that. We'll get to the World Series momentarily, but because we had a little history made on Wednesday, we're going to start with that. And it's the reason I am donning the San Francisco Giants lid today. They made it official. They are bringing Tony Vitello to become the first ever manager in Major League history with zero prior Major League experience as a player, as a coach, as a manager. He is going straight from the University of Tennessee, where he took the Vols to their first ever crown back in 2024. He is inking a multi-year deal. Now, we already talked earlier in the week when there were reports about this, about the challenges for him. Let's talk a little bit about his personality here, because it is very different than I think most major leaguers, and you expect that. I mean, we saw him do some crazy interviews with like fur coats after big wins. We saw him jump into the crowd. He doesn't mind getting dunked by a bucket of whatever liquid out there and then chewing the ice and throwing it into the crowd, as the video we're showing to the people that are here on YouTube. Do you think he has to stay true to this, or does he have to leave this by the wayside as he deals with a bunch of professionals?
Well, time will tell. In my opinion, I think he can just be himself, and that's why he was hired. And, you can talk all you want about, not having any, I believe it's professional experience, not just big league experience. There's zero professional baseball experience.
You're right. Yep.
A lot of people will point to that, and I'm not so sure it matters. I told you before, I'm really curious to see like who fills out his bench. And not players, like his coaches. I want to know what his coaching staff is going to look like. And if I had to guess, I would say he's going to have some people that have been around the block surrounding him so he can rely on them. I hope he gets a Spanish-speaking bench coach. Like, again, I think that is so important. The main thing for a manager, and you could say, hey, this guy coming in with all these professional accolades, he commands respect right away. The way you command respect in a big league clubhouse is to give the players respect and to have their backs and to communicate with them. And I don't know this guy, and I don't follow college baseball basically at all, but from all the people that I've talked to about him, all the articles that I've read, that's like his one biggest trait is his ability to communicate and to relate to players and have their back. So, are some of his in-game decisions going to be questioned from time to time? Of course, because we do that with every single manager. Mm-hmm. What really truly matters and what's going to make this guy successful or not, and I'm not talking about wins and losses because I truly believe that's out of his hands. It's like, what does the roster do? What will make him successful in the eyes of can he survive in a clubhouse is how he treats his players, and I think that he's going to do that well. So I have no problem with the hire. I am curious about it. He's the second best looking manager in Giants history after Gabe Kapler. So that'll be interesting to see. I don't know, man. Like, I hope that he understands. This is one thing. Let me just go into a little deeper real quick and kind of off the side. I hope he understands that we are an entertainment sport. I want to see him get his money's worth. The first time he gets tossed, because the umpires, you know what they're going to be telling him? which is probably going to really piss him off. You got no dirt on your spikes. You just got here. We've seen that before from Laz Diaz, I believe, is the person that said, you just got here. They're going to be all over him if he questions calls. So I hope that fires him up. And I want to see some antics the first time he gets tossed. So that's what I'll be looking for, if that makes any sense.
No, it does. It does. I hope he continues to be himself. To me, the most important thing is going to be to reach out to these veterans that he needs to get on his side early, right? Whether it's Logan Webb or Willie Adames or Matt Chapman,
Rafael Devers.
Rafael Devers.
I think that'd be the first call if I was him. I need that guy.
I mean, he really needs to call all those guys that are going to help win over that locker room. But I hope he does remain himself. Now, is he going to go crowd surf after victory number 7 on the year? I don't see that. But it is interesting. I have talked to some guys that have gone recently from the playing field to the dugout, and they said, "Hey, listen, some of the stuff I did as a player or whatever in interviews, I'm not doing that. That's not it." And I always wondered, well, what is the difference? Like, just all of a sudden because you become a leader of men, do you have to be different? Like, I enjoyed the Pat Murphy stuff with the food during the interviews this year and some of the quirky things that he did. I think he's just kind of a different dude, and I think that that's okay. I think this game needs it. I think it probably was exactly what the Brewers clubhouse needed at times, and it doesn't surprise me they were as successful as they were in part because of the type of leadership that he brought. And I hope that Tony Vitello follows that.
Yeah, I think there's like regarding, players becoming coaches and kind of like, I guess, toning it down. There's a fine line that you can't cross. Like, it's not about you anymore. And so that you have to always keep that in mind. Even though I just said I want to see this guy get his money's worth, I think that's like one time you can do it. If you have your players back and you want to make a show for the crowd, I'm in for that. But you can't always make it about you. I think that starts to rub the players the wrong way, and call that selfish or diva-ish if you want. That's just the way it is. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. I want to say this: I had that leopard coat or whatever he was wearing. That was worn ironically. I think it was like a home run jacket or maybe something. Did I read that wrong? I had a coach in AAA that wore one unironically. So like he would wear it, and it wasn't like he was joking around. He just wanted to wear a coat like that.
Interesting.
Stan and Stu Clyburn, shout out, baby.
That away. Nice. I like that. And by the way, the Giants have needed some help in recent years. I mean, you remember there were players that were questioning Gabe Kapler and his leadership at the end of his tenure. He got bounced. And then Bob Melvin was brought in to kind of right the ship. And what did we see the last couple months of San Francisco's season? Awful play, terrible base running, horrific defense, a lot of fundamentals gone astray. So, you know what? To me, this is a shot worth taking. We're going to find out more about him when he gets in front of the microphone as a big league skipper for the first time next week, I believe is when that's going to happen. And I'm sure we'll discuss it more. Anything else before we move on?
No.
We'll table that discussion until a week.
Oh, actually, I do.
Oh, you do?
Different manager, Kurt Suzuki, 1-year deal.
Oh, my gosh. Don't get me started. 2 things about that. 1-year deal where Perry Manassian, they say, oh, well, we're tied at the hip because Manassian has 1 year left on his deal. And the fact that ownership was not there. Not even there. I
would say if I was Kurt, untie me.
I mean, that's horrible. Sam Blum, who covers the Angels for The Athletic, I believe, said that Artie Moreno does not want to get caught having to pay a manager during the lockout. Is that really where we are now?
It's insane.
That's disgraceful. You give a guy a 1-year deal.
I got to meet this Artie Moreno guy. I got to meet him.
And how do you not show up when you're hiring a manager? How are you not there? What are we doing?
Well, yeah, there's probably nothing more important going on in your franchise.
Oh man. Sorry, Angels fans. Hang with them. That's what I'd like to say. Giants fans, let us know about your reaction now that it's official about Tony Vitello. What are you looking forward to? What are you a little scared about? Comment section down below. We'll see you there. Try it. Water's warm. All right, based on hundreds of millions of real-world tests, experts at Ookla Speed Test have spoken. T-Mobile's now the best mobile network in all of America. So you can keep up with all of the baseball postseason action from the ballpark to the backcountry. Why? Because T-Mobile's got the most advanced 5G, the most towers, and a signal that goes farther than ever. So whether you're streaming the game out and about, checking stats on the road, or experiencing ballpark perks with Magenta status, you're ready to stay connected wherever your fandom takes you. All you got to do, head on over to T-Mobile.com/network to switch to the very best network. Go do that today. All right. Right around 24 hours until first pitch of the World Series. We've got Media Day on Thursday. That'll be fun. A lot more storylines, I'm sure, will come out because of it. But let's start with the big picture, which is that the Dodgers are heavy favorites to win their second straight World Series. I want you to finish this sentence. The Blue Jays winning the Fall Classic would be baseball's biggest upset since.
I'm not in agreement with everybody here that this is like some massive, massive underdog situation. I understand the Dodgers roster. I understand, you can go up and down and name Hall of Famers, MVPs. The pitching staff is incredible. I know the payroll, all that stuff. I understand. But I just don't have that feeling in my gut that this is some massive underdog story. So I'll give you my answers. The 23 Arizona Diamondbacks beating the Dodgers or the 22 Padres beating the Dodgers. Both were much worse than the Dodgers during the regular season, but turned it on at the right time. I mean, I remember watching that game. I think it was game 3 when the Diamondbacks swept them where they hit 4 homers in the first inning, I believe it was. And that's baseball. And that happens from time to time. So I'm just not in on that whole like massive underdog thing. So that's my answer. And if you're going to give one that's like since 1940, like I won't believe you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I just took it as World Series. When I wrote it in my head, I should have been more specific, but
Okay.
But your stuff is acceptable because I think that it made me think about, oh yeah, they were pretty big favorites. And I'm not doing this based on betting lines, and don't go back and say, well, actually this one
Yeah.
they were. I don't care about that. I'm just talking about looking at the teams and watching them throughout the season, how I
I'll
felt.
give you my World Series after you give yours. Let me think about that.
I go back to the 2019 World Series when Washington beat Houston. That's the one I would go with. There was almost a 15-game difference in terms of the regular season standings, but it was more than that because Houston was obviously on a little bit of a run that they had been on. Washington could never get over that hump, finally made the World Series. The pitching staffs were pretty interesting, right? Strasburg and Scherzer and Corbin at the top of Washington's staff, Garrett Cole, Verlander, and Zach Greinke at the top of Houston's staff. But when you looked at Houston's lineup and compared it to Washington's, this was the first year without Bryce Harper, it was pretty significant. And so you just felt like, man, Houston is going to take care of business. And Washington came out, won the first 2 games on the road. Houston won the next 3 in Washington. And then the Nationals came back and won the last 2. I believe it was the first World Series where a home team never won a game. It was absolutely bizarre. So I felt that way about it. Like, I'm not going to go back to the 1990 Cincinnati Reds over the A's, the 1988 Dodgers over the A's. Those are very, very different. I put those in their own bucket. The A's were a building dynasty that never quite got there, even though they were in 3 straight World Series. They only won the meat of their World Series sandwich. They lost the buns part in 88 to the Dodgers and in 90 to the Cincinnati Reds, but they were baseball's dominant team. They looked it, they played the part. So this, to me, this is nowhere close. And is it going to shock me? No. Now, do you have a World Series answer?
I think you crushed it right there, to be honest. I knew you wanted to go back even further, but you found the right answer in 2019.
Yeah.
I think that's right. I don't really remember who was on the Mets team in 2015, but I remember them having that rotation they thought was going to run through the Royals, and that didn't happen. But I think you nailed it. Here's the thing. You said Washington was 15 games back of the Houston in the regular season. I mean, this is the opposite of that. This is the Toronto Blue Jays
Yeah.
had a better record. That's why we're starting the series in Toronto. So, again, like I understand why the Dodgers are betting favorites, and I understand why the narrative is what it is, but I just don't really agree with it.
No, I don't either. I don't either. And I think, though, the further you get away from the true baseball fan is where a lot of that noise comes from.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of us that watch the game realize how good Toronto is. That doesn't mean that I'm going to pick them. I don't know. We'll have to see on Friday's preview show. But I don't look at it as though, like when I sat at the NFL on Sunday, they're like, Dodgers, it doesn't matter who they play, right? They're going to kick either team's ass. I was like, I don't know if that's the way it's going to go down, but maybe we'll see. We'll see. Let us know this would be the biggest upset. I want you guys to fill in the blank on this one. Give us the name and a one word, one sentence as to why it would be the biggest upset since blank. You guys can play along.
Also, are there any Toronto fans out there that are like, yeah, we're the bully, we're the best team? Like, is anybody thinking that way? Because I need some people to be thinking that way.
Well, so if you're Toronto fans and you think you can win or even will win,
like, I feel like you can't look at this team like we're just this little guy trying to win the World Series. Like, no,
I don't
dude.
think,
Like, you got a guy making $500 million on your team. Let's go.
right. I don't think they're a top 5 payroll team that tied for the best record in the American League. I don't think
I want some confidence, baby.
No, I would hope nobody's looking at them that way, but I'm sure that there are certain people who are. All right, there's nothing better than ripping packs during October baseball. Arena Club. It's a new way to grade, collect, invest, sell, and trade cards, and it's all online. Here's how it works. Rip an Arena Club slab pack, where you're guaranteed to get one real graded card instantly revealed. Once you have that card, instead of hiding it in your shoebox or in your closet, you can actually share and display it in your personal online showroom. Or use Arena Club's online marketplace to get instant offers based on market value. There's no guessing, there's no waiting. With 3 specialty drops each week, you could rip anything from rookies to superstars like Judge or Ohtani or Vlad Guerrero Jr. Arena Club, it's the place to start your collection or level it up with transparency, safety, and grails you're not going to find anywhere else. So chase your own grails at arenaclub.com/baseball today. Get 20% off your first pack with the code baseball today. All right, let's have a little fun. Let's rank some storylines in terms of your interest on a scale of 1 to 5. Okay. Let's start with Bo Bichette possibly being on the Jays World Series roster.
I have to rank this 1 through 5.
On a scale.
Okay. Bo Bichette, you're going to give me 5. So starting out with Bo Bichette possibly being on the Jays roster.
No. You don't have to use each one to just.
Okay.
Each one is its own individual ranking.
Got it. Way to go.
Sorry.
It's a little early. I went out last night. Foggy today.
Maybe.
Okay. This one is a 5 to me. I love Bo Bichette, and I'm interested in like what the dynamic is. Like, obviously the things are going well for the Blue Jays right now. And what does this do to that like lineup fluidity? I want to know what he's going to do, what role he's going to play. So I'm heavily interested in this. So 5.
Yeah, absolutely. It pegs the meter on this one because it's interesting on so many levels. The Blue Jays have played obviously great ball without their second best hitter, a guy who was second in baseball in terms of hits, runner up to Aaron Judge in American League batting average champion. And he's a free agent to be. Like, if he does miraculous things, does that help his free agency at all? If he doesn't do well, or if he's not on the roster and the Blue Jays end up winning it all, what does that mean for his future, whether it's in Toronto or elsewhere? There's a lot of moving parts to this whole thing. And can he even make it all the way through a series? I mean, it's a bad knee if he has to run the bases and all of a sudden they see, gosh, that is a real liability. Is it worth keeping him on the playoff roster? There's a lot of things at play here. So to me, that's an easy 5. Will Hiroki Sazaki's late inning dominance continue through the Fall Classic?
Obviously, I'm interested in that because that's going to decide some baseball games here. But I'll give that one a 2. I'm more interested to see what the other relievers in the Dodgers bullpen do.
Interesting. Yeah. That I would put it at about 3, maybe a 4, because he has been great. He has thrown 7 times, 8 innings, allowed 1 run, 6 strikeouts, 3 hits, 2 walks. So there's no more, well, can he adjust to this new role? We're past that now. Like, we're in. We're in. And I don't know if that's going to be his role moving forward for this franchise. I don't think so.
No, no
Maybe
way.
he's a starter.
Yes. Well, here's the thing: they haven't paid him anything, so if they wanted to, they could do it and feel like they aren't, giving too much money to a closer or a reliever. But I believe
They
the
already did
future is
that,
a
by the way.
starter.
He's just not playing.
What's that?
They already did that. He's just not playing.
Yeah, I don't. He's a starter.
Yeah. And I would agree with you. I'm more interested in the guys who maybe need to do something in this series. I'll be curious. Like, we barely heard from Emmett Sheehan. I thought he was going to be a weapon during this postseason, and they haven't needed him. They haven't needed him.
We're still waiting on Brewstar Gratterall to just somehow magically appear on the roster. We're still waiting for that.
I think you'll be waiting.
I think so too.
Can Max Scherzer turn back the clock and give another solid start?
5. I love the storyline because I think I totally missed it in the ALCS. I said, hey, I'd be happy to get through one time through the order, and here this dude is pitching into the 6th inning. So I screwed that up. He looked great, and he was Mad Max doing all the things we wanted him to do on the baseball field. So I definitely want to see that again. Definitely want to see him go up against this lineup. This is, to me, like, even if you're a Dodgers fan, you're looking out there like, you got to respect this guy. Because, most of us are a little bit older, right? That are watching this game. And to see one of the olds still doing it against these new age young guys, I think we all feel that a little bit. So I'm all in on Mad Max.
Before I give my answer, you did not miss it. You gave us the prediction.
No, that was
postseason.
fan fiction. What I thought was going to happen was different than the fan fiction I gave.
Doesn't matter. You should own it. You should own that one forever. That was great. So for people that forgot, he gave up 2 runs in 5 2/3 when we saw him in the ALCS. Yeah, well, they're going to need him. By the way, what do you think he's going to pitch?
So didn't he pitch game 4 in the CS?
Yeah. So do you think that's where he lives? Do you think they go Savage? Then
I do.
Goff?
I'll tell you yesterday. Actually, no, I don't. I think they go Gossman.
Do you think they go Gossman game 1?
I think so.
Even though he pitched on Monday?
Yeah, how many? He only threw like 30 pitches on Monday?
Okay.
No, who do you think they're going to start game 1? You think they're going to give him an extra day of rest game 2? I feel like they've been trying to keep the pressure off of Savage as much as possible, having him pitch at home and the DS. I think they moved things around there. So I think game 1 to me is a little bit more pressure packed than game 2, although they're all pressure packed. He'll pitch one of the first 2 games, obviously. Mm-hmm. But in my mind, they continue to try to protect him, if you will, and go Gossman game 1 and Savage game 2. But maybe I'm wrong.
So I think for Mad Max, the answer is 4. I could have leaned toward a 5, and the only reason I won't is because I'm not going to know what the score of the series will be when he gets the ball.
Sure.
And if he pitches game 3 and it's 1-1, that's an enormous game. If he pitches game 3 and it's 2-0 one way, or if it's 2-0 Blue Jays, it's not as big a deal to me as if it's 2-0 Dodgers. If it's game 4 and it's 2-1 one way, it's an enormous game. So the only thing that makes me want to dial it back a little bit is just the fact that I don't know where he's pitching yet.
Okay.
But I love watching him. And against one of his former teams, whom I know he's still close with, he took that picture with Kershaw at the end of the season. When did they do that?
They pitched against each other. It was like in August.
Was it in August that they pitched?
I think so.
Yeah, I guess it was. Yeah.
Yeah,
they took a picture together.
They played 3 games against each other, and those 2 matched up in one of them.
Speaking of which, our next storyline is scale of 1 to 5. Will Clayton Kershaw even pitch in this series? How interested are you in that?
Not super interested. So I'll give this one a 2 as well. this sounds crazy. I almost like don't want him to pitch, Chris. Do you know what I mean? Like the last time we saw him wasn't good, and I felt like really bad. And I don't want people's like lasting image to of him to be that.
Well, it already
Unless he
is.
does, I know. I guess you're right. If he does pitch, I really, really want him to do well. Like I really, really want him to do well. Um, Maybe I'll move it to a 3 because if he pitches, I feel like that means the Dodgers are like kind of behind, and that would mean the Blue Jays are in the series, and I'm into that.
I'm interested. I'm like a 4 because I want to see it one more time. I just
Yeah, I want him to do well though. Like if he pitches, I need him to like get out of a hairy situation, like get a
Mhm.
lefty out or something like that. Then get him out of there.
Well, let's remember the last time he pitched, he got rocked. It was only 2 innings against Philly. He got out of that first inning with a good play, and then it ended up, though, his line was horrible. 5 runs, 3 walks, no strikeouts. And there were a lot of people that were saying, what's Dave Roberts doing? Why are they leaving him out there? They're embarrassing him the whole bit. Certainly don't want that at all.
Mm.
But I do
No,
want
and
to see
unfortunately, I
him
think that's the situation he would pitch in is
behind.
behind. I don't know, man. I just want good things for him.
I do too. Last thing, Don Mattingly finally making it to the World Series after almost 4 decades as a player, coach, manager, including 5 seasons as the skipper out in L.A.
I'll give that a 4. I'm like, there's a sentimental value there for, what am I trying to say here? I feel like good for him because I put myself in his shoes. Obviously, a guy that never even played in the playoffs. So if I put all this time into the game, again, managing, coaching as a player, and I know how special it is for people to go to the World Series, like I think he's probably really, really feeling it right now. And from all accounts, I don't know him personally, never played under him or was coached by him, but from all accounts, he's a great guy and he's helped that team a ton, form an identity. So I'm interested. I'm more just like happy for him that this has finally come to fruition.
He's awesome. He's great. And by the way, he only had 1 bite at the postseason apple. He retired. He came up right after the Yankees lost in 81. So his first year was 1982 as a 21-year-old. His last season was 1995 when they lost in the divisional round against Edgar Martinez, Ken Griffey Jr., and the Seattle Mariners. He actually, listen to these numbers: 417, 440, 708. He went 10 for 25 with 4 doubles and a homer and drove in 6. And
That was his last year.
that was his last year. So his career was smushed in between the Yankees going to the World Series 3 times in 5 seasons from 77 through 81. And then, of course, the run they went on where they won 3 out of 4. And he just missed out on those times as a player.
I'm fact checking you now because I have it up.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're just going to read the same stuff I just read.
76, 77, 78, 3 appearances in a row, and then another one in
81.
1981. Yeah.
Yeah, where they lost to the Dodgers. That was the strike shortened season where they had the split year, which was bizarre. For people that don't know this, this is where my oldness comes in handy. They split the season in 2. So there was a first half winner. I forget when they went on strike. I want to say it was maybe late June, but then they came back in early to mid-August, and the first game they played back was the All-Star game in Cleveland. They had not played baseball at all, and the first game back was the All-Star game for everybody. It was bizarre. I think that's how it went. And then they had a second half winner, and the first half winner and the second half winner played weird stuff happened.
That's what Jimmy wants. That's what his realignments and playoff schedule would be.
Interesting. Well, we need to tell them this isn't the warehouse games. We can't just kind of
hey, they do that in the minor leagues. I don't know if they still do, but I have played in seasons like that. You win the first half and you just freaking party your ass off, man.
For me, the interest, it's about a 3. I do know Don. I like him a lot. I've always liked him. I just think that he's one of those rare superstar players that was able to make the transfer over. Unfortunately, just couldn't get the Dodgers over the hump, and so they end up going a different direction, and that direction ends up being Dave Roberts, who now has had this remarkable future Hall of Fame run. It made sense, but I didn't realize it until I looked this up. You know, he managed in Miami 2 more seasons than he did
Yeah.
with the Dodgers.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's just weird. Weird. So, the fact that he's going against his former team. I mean, I don't even know what Don does, with the Blue Jays, like what his day-to-day roles are. I know what his title is. I've seen it, but I'm curious. I'll look forward to seeing him, though. Good dude. Always, and one of the greats of the game. All right. With the first 2 games being in Canada, it allows Freddie Freeman to return home, kind of, here. Freeman has dual citizenship here in the United States and in Canada. Why? Because both of his parents are from there. I believe his dad is from Windsor. His mom, Rosemary, who passed away when Freddie was just 10 years old, grew up, I believe, just outside of Toronto and was a Blue Jays fan. And so here is Freddie on the emotions he's going to be feeling.
Every time I go there, it just you just have this like feeling inside that you feel just a little bit closer to my mom. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. Every time I go there, it's I always get this little envelope in my locker, and it's always like pictures of like a third cousin has found photos in their garage, and they bring them to me. So I love going back to Toronto. It's a special place for obviously my family and I, and every time I go back there, I feel a little bit closer to my mom. So I'm looking forward to getting there.
I mean, how sweet a story is that, huh?
It's a good son, man. I'm just like, almost makes me want to tear up thinking about little 10-year-old Freddie, man, and going through that. So, yeah, he's awesome. He always has the right answers, and I think they're genuine. He also looks like he hasn't aged a day. Like I remember Freddie in AAA, like this young stud. He looks the same, like the exact same. So I don't know. I'm a big fan of Freddie, and I know why he plays for Team Canada. And to honor the mom in the WBC. Is he doing that again? I'm curious.
I'm sure he is. Okay. I can't imagine he wouldn't, right? I mean, he would have been one of the stalwarts on Team USA.
I know. I always get on guys like the Puerto Rican guys. I'm like, hey, come play for Team USA. Like but I understand why they play for Puerto Rico.
Yeah. Whatever you want to do, whatever bond you feel. And for him, I think he's going to get a wonderful ovation. I think Teoscar Hernandez, who spent 6 years in Toronto, is going to get an amazing ovation.
What? You do? No way.
You don't think so?
Like when they get announced, like before the game?
Absolutely.
I don't think so.
100. Ooh, you don't think so?
No. Why would Toronto cheer on the Dodgers? I mean, look, I get like the personal connections, but these guys are putting on a Dodger jersey, man. Like that to me, there's no way. I don't know. I mean, I haven't even thought that was a possibility.
So we're going to have to listen closely when they introduce the starting lineups, which is always fun. I like it that they do it at games 1 and games 3, so it gives the fans a chance to honor their own and boo the shit out of the other teams if they want to. Let us know what you think the reactions are going to be for Freddie Freeman returning back to the land that he represents. I think that's a no-brainer. The guy he chooses to represent Canada in international competition. That's a big deal, I think, for people north of the border.
Agreed. I just don't know if it's worthy of them cheering during a World Series that they haven't been to since 1993.
It's just during introductions, and then he just becomes another player.
Okay, maybe. I mean, that's very savvy. If they do that, I'll tip my cap to being a very, very savvy fan base.
I think that, and also Teoscar Hernandez, it wasn't like didn't he get traded to Seattle?
I don't think so, Chris.
We got to look that one up. Why don't you look that up real quick while I'm throwing some other stuff out.
Don't tell me what to do.
Okay. Actually, we'll have Sawyer look it up. We'll have Sawyer right now because I have to ask you a question here.
Okay. I could do
both. As long as Sawyer's not sleeping through the show.
I could do both.
Maybe. Huh?
I could do both.
Here's my question.
Traded.
How strong
Adam Macko and Eric Swanson.
Eric Swanson, reliever. Yeah.
Also traded by the Houston Astros with Aoki to the Blue Jays for?
Hold on here. What year was that? Was that 2013 or 14? Huh?
2017.
2017.
Oh, so we don't hold him accountable for the 2017 year. What are his numbers?
Oh man. who was it that went? Was it a reliever?
It was a left-handed pitcher.
Left-handed pitcher. Who was it?
Francisco
Liriano.
In Houston, only one game and no at-bats. So he does not need to be part of that.
All right, so let's get to the other part of this question, which is, first and foremost, Shohei Ohtani flirted with the Blue Jays. We followed the wrong plane, the whole bit. How strong is the reaction when he gets up to the plate or gets introduced?
See, you got me thinking about all these things. To me, it's like nothing. They just don't cheer. Why would they boo this man?
Oh, I think they're going to boo him. I
But
don't
like,
think
why? He didn't run the story about the plane, dude. Like, he didn't do any of that. He was doing his due diligence, talking to a bunch of teams. He was a free agent.
Yeah.
So he did nothing to Canada at all, except like sign with a different team. So I don't know. If they want to boo him, I get like, hey, they don't boo nobodies, right? So maybe that is why they'd want to boo him, just to like make him feel like, hey, you ain't welcome here because you're on the other team. But again, that's more like just a Dodger thing than a Shohei thing to me.
I think it's partially Shohei. I mean, we just showed him taking Chris Bassett deep when the Dodgers played out there. You know,
I mean, he's taking a lot of people deep, dude.
Huh?
Who put this? Who put the tweet out about the plane?
I'm not going to call him out.
I'm going to do it right now. Is it Morosi?
Yeah.
So,
and then did you see him? He came back. He doubled up in a funny way. He goes, I think, didn't he put out yesterday something like this time?
Everyone was getting that joke in. I told Jake, if I see that joke out there, I'm out. It's just like
but it made sense for him.
Yeah, a lot of people did. Shohei's actually on a plane. Like that's stop, bad joke. Also, pencils down at trade deadline. The end of that, hate that. And then also, it ain't called the mild card. Hate that.
Can I ask you this question?
Yes.
How severe is the reaction when George Springer gets introduced before Game 3 in Los Angeles?
Seismic. Yeah, it's gonna be big. They're gonna boo the crap out of him.
Yeah.
And because I've experienced that one. So I know that one's going to happen. I told you with Carlos Correa, it's just, I experienced everywhere I went and it was never louder than here in Los Angeles.
Yeah. And it will be, in part, not only because he was a part of the 2017 Cheaters, he was the guy that did the most damage. He hit 5 home runs in that World Series and ended up being the World Series MVP. Game 7, Yu Darvish, whether they had something on him or not, they must have. I mean, here you see it all. And he was the biggest reason why the Astros were celebrating as world champions for the first time ever. Yeah, that's not going to be pretty.
You know, so my take on the Astros, you've heard the young guys should not be held accountable. They're just following the veterans. George Springer is more towards veteran than
he was
remembered. So I think I do lump him in with fault there. And I've given him a big pass for a lot of years because I was, he was, a younger guy. He was 27, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
How about again, I think there were some veterans that had a little bit more time and probably, held some, their opinion held some weight in that clubhouse. So I think they deserve more blame, but I think Springer's more on that end of it than Correa and Bregman, those guys that were very young on that team.
Oh, Bregman, certainly.
Correa was what was that year for him?
Correa was around didn't he come up in 2014 or something?
His first year was 15. So he was 22. No. I don't blame him for that.
The reaction has been pretty strong when we've talked about George Springer. There are people who are like, he should have been banned from baseball. Why are you praising a cheater? All of that. Well, I mean, you have to talk about him. It wasn't our call to not punish those people. That was, and actually, I think that's a story that I think it still doesn't sit well with people, how the commissioner's office handled it. They came out and they always said, well, we would never have gotten the information if we hadn't given these players immunity. So we decided to punish the people who were in charge of the franchise instead of the perpetrators themselves.
All they
And I
needed was
think that
one guy. Give him immunity. Just one guy. He'd rat out everybody else. They should just. I don't know.
we should
I'm.
have turned it into an episode of Law and Order.
Yeah, dude. Hey, I've watched enough shows like that. Springer, I've praised a lot. And look, there's some things to like. I'm not saying he's a bad, horrible person or anything like that. I think did a very bad thing. It cost a lot of people, careers. And I don't think
Could have.
people understand that enough. It wasn't just, hey, they stole this from the Dodgers or whatever. It's like they were costing careers. Guys are getting
Mhm.
shelled and getting sent down to the minor leagues and never getting a chance again. I've been giving him a free pass for a long time, so I gotta realign where I'm at with George Springer.
Yeah, I wonder as we get further away how we will look at this once a lot of those guys are retired. I think Carlos Beltran, I think he will get into the Hall of Fame next year. That's going to be the first step. That's going to be the first huge domino to fall in terms of guys who
I've already
were.
forgiven Cora and Hinch, man.
Well, they had to. So would you have preferred to not ever see them manage again?
Yes,
Really?
100%.
Interesting.
Look, if you're the manager of that, and again, he knew about it. Tora thing, the TV off the wall. That was the story, right? Still continued after that,
Yeah.
and it wasn't like I keep going back to this when I talk about the story. It wasn't some covert operation. They were banging a bleeping trash can, so he heard it. You know what I mean? Like he knew it was still going on and didn't stop it. Like, and he was felt powerless to stop it. You were the manager, bro. I'm out on that. I am out on him and I'm just out. I don't like that.
In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. These are their stories. Dun dun.
Where are you at with that? I feel like I'm the only one mad about it still.
I'm not mad about it still. I'm upset that it happens. Is it the first thing I think about when I see George Springer and Jose Altuve and Carlos Correa and Alex Bregman? No, it's just not. I'm being honest. It's not the first thing. Do I hate that it happened? Absolutely. Was I pissed off at the time? I hated the way that Houston handled it. I don't know if you remember,
Except for Carlos Correa, the only one that handled it the right way.
well,
He's
the problem
22
was,
years old. No, I guess when it came out, he was 24.
yeah, so this was after they lost the 2019 World Series, I think is when the investigation finally popped and there were, the whole bit. The first thing that happened, the first group event was Houston's Fan Fest. And I remember that Altuve and Bregman were like the only guys that were there, the only huge names that were there, answering questions kind of half-assed. The organization totally butchered it. They didn't have ownership, management, the manager, front office. It was two guys who had to stand in a dugout while a bunch of local yokels were asking questions and tiptoeing around the event. It was so poorly handled, but that was kind of status quo for them.
You're getting me fired up. Yeah.
Sorry, dude.
That's why, I'd say, man, Carlos Correa went out there and was talking to the media, called Kenny Rosenthal aside to have an interview. None of the veterans did a damn thing. They threw these guys to the wolves. AJ Hinch, Alex Cora, Carlos Beltran, Brian McCann, all those dudes. That pisses me off.
Yeah,
Like
that part, it was handled poorly.
You got to take some ownership and responsibility, man. Like that's your job as a veteran in that clubhouse or the manager of the team. It's supposed to be on you, and you failed miserably.
They should have
miserably.
They should have hired a good PR firm, to be honest with you.
You get me all fired up, Chris.
Yeah, that's good for you. It's good for you. And here's something else good for you with playoff season and the World Series here. Whether you're at a watch party or a tailgate or hanging with friends after the game, nothing levels up those moments like the refreshing tropical lime kick of Mountain Dew Baja Blast. So go grab a can or a bottle, bring that tropical flavor wherever you go. So throughout the World Series, you're going to be hanging with friends. You're going to be rooting for whomever. Doesn't matter. Individual, team. Then you're going to go grab some food late night after the game. Might even this weekend go to a tailgate, college football, NFL. Bring something that'll really help tie it all together. That's Baja Blast. Don't wait. Grab Mountain Dew Baja Blast today and taste the tropical refresh that takes every occasion to the next level. You can find it now at mountaindew.com/finddew. All right, Blue Jay fans, I know you're super excited because it's the first time in 32 years you're going to be hosting a World Series game come Friday night. And I know what you're all celebrating. It's the 32nd anniversary of this.
Now the 2-2. Well hit down the left field line. Way back in.
That's right. Touch them all, Joe. You'll never hit a more important home run in your life as Joe Carter is circling the bases up there at Skydome. Are you old enough to have this be your first World Series memory?
I do remember it. I don't think I was watching, to be honest. I didn't watch a ton of baseball growing up, like on TV. You know what? I watched like tennis and like The Price is Right. I was always at my grandparents' house a lot when I was younger. Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy. I watched those a lot. We didn't watch a ton of baseball. But I do remember this. And for some reason, specifically, that comes to like what comes back to me when thinking about this is I used to have to drive from my house in Castaic. You know where that is. Most people don't. And we would drive to the valley every day in the morning to go to school. We'd get dropped off at my grandparents' house and go to school. But during that drive, it's like 45, 50 minutes. My dad would listen to Howard Stern. So we'd be in my dad's work truck, me and my brother, and then eventually my sister as well, would be in the work truck, and he'd have Howard Stern on. It was probably, sometimes got a little inappropriate.
Yeah,
he would have. I remember like when that would happen, he'd turn the channel, we'd listen to country music, but we'd listen to him a lot, and I remember him talking about this. And in fact, a lot of like big events that happened, like I remember Howard Stern reacting to them, but this was one of them. So,
if I'm not mistaken, I think this was a Saturday night, and I had just graduated from Miami University in the spring, and I think I was back in Oxford and had just walked into a bar and saw it happen on the TV. I was like,
that's awesome.
Did I just watch Joe Carter win the World Series?
I can't believe you weren't like glued to a TV at the time.
I know.
Your sports fandom hadn't hit you yet?
I don't want to say what I was doing, but who knows what I was doing that night?
Who knows?
I do remember watching it as I walked into a bar somewhere, and I saw the last inning, and wow, it just happened. My first World Series memory is Reggie Jackson hitting 3 homers off of 3 different pitchers in 1977.
That's nice. That's nice.
I want to know what everybody's first World Series memory is.
I watched something on the Joe Carter home run, and I didn't know this. The year before when they won the World Series, he actually caught the last out.
Yes, he did. Do you know who threw the ball?
Pretty big memories right there, dude. Like ended the World Series twice.
Yeah. I believe that Otis Nixon hit a little chopper in front of the plate, and I think that Mike Timlin threw him the ball.
Yep, just right there. Boop.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, for a long time, I always knew who was the batter, the pitcher, and the fielder for the last out. I knew that for a long time. Not anymore. Braden doesn't have enough capacity for that stuff. So, all right. We will do a full throttle investigation into what we're going to see, because that will be Friday's show. We'll hear from the people on Media Day. That'll be fun. And we'll break it all down, and we'll give you our predictions. And then don't forget, we have shows right after Game 1 and Game 2 and moving forward the rest of the series. So there's a ton of baseball today to get all caught up on. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our awesome intern, Sawyer, that is the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Friday for Game 1 of the World Series here on Baseball Today, presented to you by Mountain Dew Baja Blast.